I have 0 confirmed kills, but I have 312 confirmed lives saved. Yet, because of my PTSD, I'm the monster. So last August, I found out that I was diagnosed with PTSD. And the only thing I could think of was, oh great, I'm that monster now. I didn't understand what my PTSD really was. All I could think of is being this monster, that I had to hide it inside. And I'm not the only one who feels that way. PTSD for most of us is not what most civilians see on TV. It's so overdramatic and so fabricated that it's bullshit. What most of us feel is this sense of anxiousness, this what could happen next idea. The way the civilian population reacts to people with PTSD makes us feel more ashamed, makes us feel worse about ourselves, because they don't get it. They don't understand what it's like to be living in an environment where there's somebody hiding amongst everybody who wants to kill you. I mean, in Afghanistan, we had 3 people killed in the gymnasium lifting weights by somebody pretending to be one of the laundry workers. Came in and shot them all 3. Could you imagine for yourself as a civilian that anxiousness of just going to the store, going to the grocery store, and thinking that anybody else in there wants to kill you? No, you can't. You've been protected by 2 oceans, by 2 great neighbors north and south of us. You don't understand what it means to be always on alert, always anxious, always waiting for somebody to present themselves as a threat that you have to defend yourself against. As I had the last it's November, last 5 months to think about PTSD and what that is for me. I can go back to the past and remembering coming back from that first deployment. And it was just something small to me, but it was something that I appreciated people honoring. And that was, if you were to wake me up from sleeping, that you had to talk to me first and then touch me. Because, you know, my anxiousness, and it can't just turn it on, turn it off. It's just when I'm sleeping, you expect somebody trying to hurt you every time and everywhere. And that's just what the war environment is for us. That simple, they talk to me, then touch me, wake up, paid off in the long run for me to be able to wake up in a more natural manner without scaring somebody, without having the fear that I might hurt somebody in an unnatural reaction that they're not used to. The second indication was the anxiousness. Always being on alert, always being tense, always being ready for something bad to happen, especially in crowds. Crowds were the worst because you always felt that there was somebody out there who wanted to do harm to you and to others. Imagine, being on the Las Vegas Strip, that was the worst, when you just get in those large crowds on the sidewalk and all you can think of is somebody is going to do something harmful to each other. I remember my late wife and I were walking down the Tropicana and we saw somebody with a 9mm in the back of their pants, and all I could think of was something bad was going to happen. I wanted to get out of there, or I wanted to take action. Knowing that the police weren't going to look favorable about a Marine beating up somebody, I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to be out of that situation. And I'm glad we did get out of that situation. So fast forward after the war. So my last combat deployment is 2012 in Afghanistan, with all the killings that were happening on base by people that we thought we could trust, that ended up being just Al-Qaeda and Taliban grunts trying to eliminate as many Marines as they could. He came home and just being always, what's next? What could possibly happen next? I mean, I just lost my wife to cancer. And then I went to war. And then it's like, there's something else is gonna happen. And that's the way you always feel. You always feel that you're waiting for the next bad incident. So you're prepared, you're ready. And that's what it comes down to. Since departing the Marine Corps, the next indication that I was suffering from PTSD was my inability to be accepted by my civilian peers. It frustrated me. I didn't understand why. I wasn't trying to be anybody greater. I just wanted to be able to contribute to the new group, the new peer group I was a part of. But yet, they wouldn't have me. They didn't want me around. I get comments like, everyone's got PTSD and they just need to stay away. I'm like, you don't understand what PTSD is. These are VPs of major corporations saying this stuff. And so if they're believing it, you gotta understand that everybody's believing it. And that's not fair to us who actually have to deal with this. That we freaking risked our lives so you guys can have your cushy life. All this I get out, whether we retire or we do our contracts or resign our commissions, we all have the same hope when we depart, and that is that we can go to be in a normal life, be part of society. But there's two things against us. One, our experiences, especially those who served in combat, and two, the civilians that don't want us there. They're afraid of us, like we're going to snap or do something. Now, I got you, the 0.01% that makes us look bad is destroying, or is creating this military-civilian divide. This military-civilian divide can get so great that it could be just as bad as the Vietnam War, where people just hated their own people. I mean, how is that possible? How is it that we that protected you, who just want to be part of the normal world, your world, are considered not good enough? We've done heroic things, but yet it's not good enough to get hired by you. It's not good enough to be in a position of responsibility that equals what, nearly as equals what we did in Iraq and Afghanistan. What's the fear come from? And this is why I want to talk about my PTSD. My PTSD is not anger, it's not hatred. My PTSD is anxiousness. It's shame. It's why can I not be, the disappointment of why I cannot be accepted by the people I protected. The lives I saved. I have 0 confirmed kills, but I have 312 confirmed lives saved. Yet, because of my PTSD, I'm the monster. So how do we solve this problem? How do we bridge this military-civilian gap that's apparently there because of everyone's fear of PTSD? First, it takes just having the conversation, just talking and understanding the points of view. Understanding that why veterans feel anxious and what they had to go through. But then at the same time, you have to let them know your concerns. Show your vulnerability, show your gaps in information and knowledge. Don't assume you know something if you don't know it. Be honest of the things you don't know. By having the conversations and being honest with what you know, what you don't know, and what you're assuming will allow you to be able to bridge that gap. Because when you take the assumptions out of it, you're starting to bring clarity. You're bringing in an understanding for both sides. And that's just it. Both sides have to equally be receiving, understanding. It's not about giving and defending and all this other stuff that happens. Trust me, I struggle with that. My ego wants to defend my honor. My ego wants to talk about the great things. But at the same time, as I train leaders, I'm training them through my vulnerabilities, my mistakes, my errors, because I don't want them to make the same errors I made, because even though they made me a better leader, they don't have to experience it. They just need to understand what I went through and ask the questions so they can actually create an answer for themselves, so when the time does arrive, they know what to do. Take the chance to hire a veteran into a place of responsibility almost equal to what they did. Stop underemploying veterans. They did things far greater than anybody else in your organization, to include you. Give them the chance. Let them show them how great they are. You'll be surprised. But at the same time, also have the time, you have to take the time to have those talks with them. Don't say, I'm concerned about your PTSD. Hey, why are you so nervous around me? My favorite question is, why are you so intense? And I couldn't answer it at first, but it's a great question to allow me to understand how I was being perceived by others, and allowed me to calm down, allowed me to remove the landmine. This military-civilian divide, it needs to be bridged. It just needs to go away. And we do that by working with each other, by understanding each other. Trust me. The more you make the divide, the more veterans are going to hate you. And then when you need their help, they're going to tell you, figure it out yourself. We don't need that. We need our communities to be together. We are so divided and tribalized in so many different ways that we just spew hate amongst each other. Hell, I'm in Europe for a month and they ask what's going on in the United States, that you guys all hate each other. It's just how we're perceived right now, because we perpetuate it. We perpetuate it with our road raging when we're driving. We perpetuate that with our way we talk to each other, our way we just are self-absorbed and selfish. It's time to get past that. It's time to be a community again. Because of this divide, it forced me to start my own business, to be able to help others who are willing to take my assistance, who trust that my experiences in the most dynamic and most demanding environment in the world of warfare, that they don't have to experience it to learn the important lessons when intensity increases, when things are so extreme, that they have the ability to be leaders for what their people need for the guidance to move forward. Because of that divide, I have zero trust in corporate executives. They're all talk, no action. And that's why I took care of myself. And most veterans will say that. They will take care of themselves because they cannot trust. Build trust by being vulnerable. Build trust by giving chance. I know trust is earned, but the thing is though, if you don't give trust, you don't get trust. And if you want respect, you have to give respect. But you do it with dignity. Be part of the solution. Be part of the answer. Help me bridge this gap. I'm putting out my hand to meet you halfway so you can grab my hand and we can close this gap. It takes two of us. You, me, and together we reunite. Between you and me, we reunite our communities. We become one with the same ideas that we have to help each other achieve our dreams. My dream is to be part of this society. What is your dream? How can I help you in your dream? How can you help me? They called me a landmine. Talk to you again in the next video.